Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my very dear students. I hope that you're fine and ready to learn the basics of English grammar. Before we move on, I would like to ask you to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon so that you may receive the regular updates about my videos. Okay, let's get started. This is our today's topic. I shall be telling you about finite verbs and non-finite verbs. Let's first talk about finite verb. Finite means bound. You can simply define a finite verb as a verb that changes its form when the tense is changed. Moreover, finite verbs are bound by the person and number of the subject. And you know that your subject may be singular as well as plural. So, your bound verb would be dependent upon the number of the subject. For example, she takes a cup of tea. In this sentence, she is your singular subject. Takes here is the first form of the verb with the addition of s. And this sentence has been written in present indefinite tense. And you know that in present indefinite tense, if you have a singular subject, you add s or es with the first form of the verb in your sentence. In case you have plural subject, you do not add s or es with your verb. So the verb takes here is bound because it is dependent upon the number of the subject. So this is the finite verb. See the second sentence. Boys had enjoyed the party. Boys here is your plural subject. Had is your auxiliary verb. Enjoyed here is your third form of the verb. And this sentence has been written in past perfect tense. The selection of the auxiliary verb as well as the form of the verb shows that this sentence is written in past perfect tense. And the verb enjoyed here is bound. It is a finite verb. Let's move on and talk about non-finite verb now. Notice that a non-finite verb is totally opposite to the finite verb. A non-finite verb does not have tense, means that it does not show tense. A non-finite verb is not limited by the number and person of the subject. Whatever your subject is, either it's singular or it is plural, a non-finite verb is not affected by the number or person of your subject. And a non-finite verb does not change its form according to the subject. It means that its form remains the same. Only the finite verb changes its form, but non-finite verb does not change its form. Its form remains the same. For example, I wanted to learn French. In this sentence, to learn is the non-finite verb. You cannot change its form and it is not limited by the number or the person of the subject. Moreover, it is not showing any tense. Swimming is my favorite sport. In this sentence, swimming is your non-finite verb. It won't change its form. Neither it is limited by the number or person of the subject. See the third sentence. He loves playing piano. Playing here is your non-finite verb. It is not limited by the number or the person of the subject, nor it is showing any tense. There are some kinds of non-finite verbs. They are just 3 in number and they are very simple and very easy. The first kind of non-finite verb is known as infinitive. The second kind of non-finite verb is known as gerund. And the third kind is known as participle. I shall tell you about these three kinds in a very simple way now. An infinitive is defined as a non-finite verb that is generally preceded by to. Means that a non-finite verb which has to before it is known as infinitive. And it expresses an action. For example, we wanted to visit you last week. In this sentence, to visit is infinitive. It is not easy to cook in these hot days of summer. In this sentence, to cook here is the infinitive. They like to watch television in the evening. To watch here is the infinitive. Notice that these three sentences have infinitives, and an infinitive is a verb which has to before it. To visit, to cook, to watch. Let's move on and talk about gerund. A gerund is the ing form of the verb. If you add ing at the end of the first form of the verb, it becomes present continuous form of the verb, and it can also be used as a gerund. And a gerund is known as a verbal noun. Means you will use the ing form of the verb as a verbal noun, and a gerund does the work of a verb as well as a noun in a sentence. For example, playing with fire can be dangerous for you. You can see that playing here is gerund. And what is a gerund? The ing form of verb. And it is working here as a verb as well as a noun. So it is a verbal noun here. Similarly, he enjoys riding a horse. In this sentence, riding is your gerund because it is doing a work of a verb as well as noun in this sentence, and the main verb here is enjoys. So you can simply say that enjoys here is a finite verb, while riding here is a non-finite verb. Enjoys is helping you understand that this is your present indefinite tense, but riding has no effect on any tense. It is not bound. See the third statement. Finding faults in others is not a good habit. In this sentence, finding is your gerund. Let's talk about participle. A participle is a verbal adjective, and it does the work of a verb as well as an adjective in a sentence. The participle has three forms: present participle, verb plus ing form of verb. For example, opening the door, he rushed out hastily. Now, this participle opening is doing the work of a verb as well as an adjective. So this is your present participle. An ing form of the verb is the present participle. Notice that this is different from the gerund. Gerund also has ing at the end of the first form of the verb, but a gerund is different from a participle in a sense that a participle is a verbal adjective while a gerund is a verbal noun. The second form of the participle is past participle, which is verb plus ed. For example, followed by a stranger, the girl felt afraid. In this sentence, you can see that this is the past participle, the verb which has ed at its end. And it is doing a work of a verb as well as an adjective. So it is a verbal adjective. The third form of participle is known as perfect participle, which has having plus any verb plus ed or en at the end of your verb. For example, having said. Having said is your participle, which is perfect participle. So in this sentence, having said that, I will not repeat my points now. Having said is your perfect participle. The verb which has having and the verb which has the ed form. Thank you so much for watching. See you with another video. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.